You're listening to the Fierce Fatty Podcast, episode 56. This one wise person is going to change everything for you. I'm your host, Victoria Wellesby. Let's do it!
Perfect!
I'm Victoria Wellesby, TEDx speaker, best-selling author and fat activist. I have transformed my life from hating my body with desperately low self-esteem to being a courageous and confident, fierce fatty who loves every inch of this jelly. Society teaches us living in a fat body is bad, but what if we spent less time, money, and energy on the pursuit of thinness and instead focused on the things that actually matter, like if pineapple on pizza should be outlawed, or if the mullet was the greatest haircut of the 20th century. So, how do you stop negative beliefs about your fat body controlling your life? It's the Fierce Fatty Podcast. Let's begin.
Hello, fatty. Welcome to this episode. I'm so pleased that you are here. And welcome if this is the first episode that you're listening to. We've got 55 before this one. Why don't you go check them out? Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Today we're going to be talking about one wise person. Who is it? Who could it be? Today I am, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll be able to see me. But today I thought, you know what? I'm going to put on some eyelashes. I bought me some eyelashes, magnetic eyelashes. Have you heard of these before? They've been on my radar for the last year. And I finally bought some. And this is like the third time of me wearing a pair, and today I was like, okay, I'm going to record this podcast episode. I'm going to put on the second longest ones. And so if you're like, wow, Victoria's eyelashes are like 17 feet long, that is why, is I've got these magnetic eyelashes on. And I'm not normally one to be big on makeup, although I do like a nice lipstick. And actually the very first time I tried stick on false eyelashes was last year, pretty much last year, when I was in the when I was on the BBC show, I with the help of Courtney Body Posy Bell on Instagram, go follow her. She helped me. So I had seen some stick-on eyelashes in Primark for like 99p, and I was like, fuck it, I've always wanted to try them. The 99p is all good. And so she's like the queen of makeup, and I was like, okay, we're gonna go on this night out to do karaoke, I'm gonna try these fake eyelashes. And so she was just like, oh, just stick the glue on and then just stick them on your eye, it's really easy. And I was like, okay. And like 2 minutes later I go to her, I'm like, Courtney, and my eyelids were stuck together. I had major fail, and I almost pissed. I almost pissed from laughing so much because it was like this stringy glue in between my eyelids. It's like, it didn't hurt or anything, it was, very minor. But then she put them on for me. And they look good. I actually still have them. I've worn them like 10 times. 99p from Primark, what can you do wrong? And so I thought, I'll try these magnetic ones. You know what? I think people struggle with eyelashes because they don't wait for the glue to dry, which is what I did. Is I put like tons of glue on and then just like put them on my eyes, and they were all like wet and slippery, and the glue went everywhere. And the trick was to put a little bit of glue and let it get tacky, and then put it on. Which is, Courtney told me this beforehand, but obviously I didn't listen to her and follow her instructions. And so I need these magnetic ones. I thought, these tiny little magnets on the eyelashes, and you put on eyeliner, and the eyeliner is magnetic, and then you wait for it to dry, and then you put them on. and it works. Like, I tried it on my arm, and to see how much like they stuck. They really fucking stick. They're like really sticky. But here's the problem: is that after you take them off, the eyeliner is like tattooed to your eyeballs. Not your eyeballs, eyelids. It like took 2 days to get off. Me trying like face soap, wipes, face oil, everything to get it off, and it took 2 days for it to come off. So it might just be the brand that I bought, but anyway. So that is my eyelash thing. So yeah, if you want to watch the video on YouTube to see what my eyeballs look like, then do that. If not, then you can just imagine that I look like Victoria without longer eyelashes. And FYI, so a lot of people think that if you are body positive or fat positive, or think that all bodies are beautiful and all that type of stuff, then wearing makeup is like, you shouldn't do it because you should love yourself the way that you are. And that is total bullshit. One of the big things that Courtney gets is, if you love your body, then why do you wear makeup? Because she loves the makeup. And because it's fun, right? It's fun. And I always like exploring these things and working out my reason for doing it. So am I putting on these fake eyelashes because I want to bat them at some boys down in the local village, and I think that if I don't have eyelashes on, then I'm less of a human being and I'm less beautiful and I'm, ugly? And no, I'm literally, so I'm in Ireland at the moment, in the middle of nowhere. No one is going to see me apart from, people on YouTube or whatever. And it's just a bit of fun, right? It's just a bit of fun. So, but if one day I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, I need to put eyelashes on because if I don't wear them, then I feel like a bad person. Then I'll be like, let's explore this some more, Victoria. This is not really working out for you. Now, I want to share an email that I got. And it's really, really powerful. So I got this email, and it was... it's from a superfat person who is sharing a day in the life of living in a superfat body. And I wonder, depending on whatever size you are, even if you're straight size or whatever, wherever you are on the fat spectrum, and even if you're in InfiniFat, like how much of this resonates with you, and how much of this letter is surprising, and your feelings from me. I'm going to read this letter to you. How are you feeling about this experience? Before I read this email from the listener, I just wanted to give you a content warning. There is brief mention of self-harm. There is maybe disordered feelings around food. There is talking about the shame of being fat. So if you're not feeling that right now, then skip like 10 minutes ahead. Okay, so you ready? I'm going to read this letter to you. Email from a listener. I am a 45-year-old cis female superfat, and just in the past month or two, I have been making an effort towards body acceptance. I wrote this sort of day in the life piece below to see exactly how much weight stigma impacted my day, and I think I shocked myself with how much it has infiltrated so many of my decisions. I guess I wanted to share this to ask, have others experienced all of this? In your experience, how hard is it going to be to leach this poison out of me? I am seeing a therapist, but it hasn't helped much yet. An average day in the office. My alarm goes off and I hit snooze, since I don't want to get out of bed yet. I'll force myself to get up though, since I need enough time to make myself acceptable enough. I pick out what to wear, always choosing a dress so that no one could see exactly how large my thighs are. It has to be a dress that is knee length or longer, so none of the fat around my knees can be seen. Pants or shorter dresses and skirts I can only wear at home alone. I also won't wear short sleeves without a long sleeve sweater to cover it and hide the fat on my upper arms. Those sleeves also have the benefit of hiding the burn marks and knife scars etched into my skin that I received as punishment for not being thin enough. I spent around 20 minutes doing my makeup to try and make myself seem more attractive in the hopes of counterbalancing the ugliness I've been told comes with my body size. One reason I dyed my hair purple was so that people would focus more on my face than my body. I used to be told that I have a pretty face, just my face, but since my double chin has grown, I don't hear that statement much anymore. Whatever pretty I might have had is apparently gone. I head downstairs and walk to my car, hoping I don't run into another person. People have yelled fat slurs out of the window of their cars or called me other fat-hating things as they pass by, so if there is another person around, I usually drop my head and won't make eye contact, hoping that will be less provoking. I am usually a tiny bit relieved to get to my car without incident, and I almost feel a bit normal, until I have to buckle myself in with my seatbelt extender. I get to work and I once again keep my head down so I don't have to make eye contact with any strangers on the way up to my office. Most people don't usually say cruel things at their workplace, but it's happened before. I walk to my desk, and if someone else is in the hallway, I immediately try to scrunch myself up smaller and hug the wall so they don't think that my body is blocking their path. I always say sorry, simply because my fat body is sharing a hallway with them. There are a number of things in our work kitchen for breakfast or snacks, but I try not to go into the kitchen if there is anyone else there. I never eat breakfast before my commute, but I'll wait until the kitchen is empty to hurriedly grab a granola bar and go back to my desk. If someone is walking towards me, I frequently hide the granola bar in my sleeve since I don't want to be judged as a glutton. Actual work is pretty uneventful, except for the work chair I don't fit into very well, and it generally makes a clicking sound if I move, which embarrasses me. I assume it only makes that noise because of my weight. If I bring my lunch, which I do most of the time, I don't use the lunchroom. I've been told seeing fat people eat is disgusting and nauseating, so I will usually eat at my desk by myself. Sometimes a co-worker will invite me to lunch and it's difficult. If they want to go somewhere within walking distance, I'll usually decline since I hate walking behind everyone with my slower moving body and I'm embarrassed by being a bit out of breath. If it's a drive, I am very hesitant to go in another person's car since it's humiliating to try and fasten a seatbelt that frequently won't fit around me. I'm also very leery of driving others since I'd be embarrassed if they noticed my seatbelt extender. Once we arrive at the restaurant, I dread looking at the seating options. If it's a booth, I can rarely fit without some kind of painful gouging into my stomach the whole time. If it's a table, I try to get a seat on the periphery so I don't crowd any of my lunchmates with my body. Throughout the meal, I worry how I might cope if the chair breaks underneath me. It's never happened to me, but I fear nonetheless. When I order, I try to choose meals that are easy to take home since I never finish my meal. It might seem ironic, but I eat very slowly, something most people don't expect from a fat woman. I've always been a slow eater, but I'm more aware that seeing a fat person eat in public is considered disgusting. I try to make myself less offensive by eating slowly and as delicately as I can. Also, I have a lap band, my weight loss surgery failure. And certain foods can stick in my throat and only go into the bathroom to vomit or dislodge them. I usually keep my lap band a secret since I fear what people will think of me, that I'm apparently so irredeemably fat, even weight loss surgery couldn't help me. I'm deeply ashamed of this failure. Once lunch is over, I grab my doggy bag and wait. I wait until everyone else is heading away from the table, so hopefully no one can see me struggling to get out of the booth that I barely fit in, or see that I might have to brace my arm on the table edge to rise from the chair. Almost always there is pain. Sometimes bruises from the back of the chair or the edge of the booth table dug in my stomach, but I've learned to ignore them since it's so common. By now it's around 1 p.m. It's only the first half of my workday and I'm already demoralised and a little exhausted. It can be so hard to constantly fight to exist in a world that has taught me I'm unacceptable. Decades of fat hatred and diet culture, particularly from my own family, have left a stain on me I'm scared I'll never be able to erase. I fear I'll die way too young, heartbroken and lonely, believing I never deserved more. Those are the bad days. But then, that small voice inside me who wanted purple hair because she refused to be invisible, because she wanted to be noticed, to be different, will speak up. That voice will say everyone else can fuck off. I don't need to give a shit what anyone else thinks of me. I don't live my life on their terms. My life is my own. I'm allowed to feel like I have value. I don't need to constantly apologize for my size, to essentially ask for everyone's forgiveness because my body is different. I need that small voice to be bigger, louder, and unapologetically untamed. I need that to be the ever-present, booming voice that drowns out all of the others. But I'm unsure how to go about it. Whew, that was quite the read, wasn't it? I'm sure, you all are having different emotions to that letter, and I was just so pleased to receive such a beautiful, powerful email. It's wonderful. So my response, so I'm going to read a part of my response. My response to this email was, this was so powerful. Thank you so much for sharing, really. I'm so pleased that you're making an effort towards body acceptance. So many never get to that place and continue to blame themselves for the way they feel about themselves. Your questions. Have others experienced this? Yes, so many. Thousands, hundreds of thousands. You are so far from alone with this. But it can feel like you are, as it is hard to talk about shame. Thing is, this shame is not yours to hold. I'm a medium fat and I've experienced a lot of the things that you've mentioned. The granola bar in the sleeve really got me. Hiding the fact that I ate food was a full-time job. I so wanted people to see me as a good fatty and be like, oh, she only eats salads. It's not her fault that she's fat. Your second question. How hard is it going to be to leach this poison out? It's hard for me to answer that because everyone is different. Studies show that folks who undergo surgery have a lot of negative beliefs about themselves, more so than the general population. Being super fat does mean it'll be harder to unlearn this bullshit because you experience greater stigmatization than smaller fats or straight-sized people. You have more reminders that society doesn't like fat bodies. But it doesn't mean it's not possible for you though. Seeing a therapist is so wonderful. I hope that they are fat positive, although I know that can be hard to find. The way that I see it is that you, and everyone that lives in a fatphobic society, have been brainwashed. The tricky thing is that you can't escape our fatphobic society, but you can find corners of the world that support and love fatties. And luckily, there are lots of them, and they are growing every day. How much of that letter, that email, resonated with me, and I was just like, I need to share this with you all because I know it's going to resonate with so many of you, even if you're not fat. You know, that shame, that, you know, getting ready in the morning, and if you are fat, that trying to make your body smaller, and that apologizing for existing and not wanting to be seen to be eating, and constantly thinking about how people have these judgments and trying to persuade them with your actions that, no, you are a worthy person, you are okay, you're not one of those bad fat people. Doing anything that you can to survive in a world that is aggressively telling you that you need to be in a different body. It's a biggie, right? And so if you are feeling these things and feel like I'm alone in feeling these things and different things as well, because obviously this is one person's experience, but there are so many different experiences. And so whatever you're experiencing, you're not alone. It can feel like the whole population of the earth, 7.5 billion people, hate fat bodies. But that is not the truth. That is not the truth. There are many, many thousands and hundreds of thousands of people out there who think it's absolutely fine to be fat. There's many people out there who think it's great to be fat. There's many people out there who are working to eradicate fat phobia and working for the rights of fat people, who will see you and just not think much, just be like, oh, there's a human being, and not judge you negatively. So you're not alone. Whoever's listening, and if you feel like you're alone, because that's a big thing, this stuff, especially if you're newer to it, if your family, which is chances are they probably are, your family and friends and the people around you are probably fat phobic, because, if you're newer to this stuff, then you haven't set boundaries or, kicked out the worst offenders and all that type of stuff. It can feel like you're doing something really wild, something really inappropriate, something irresponsible or not good, or good for your health or your mental health. But as this email writer says, there's this little thing in you that's saying, no, I deserve better. I deserve to feel like I am allowed to be alive and exist in this body. So yeah, thank you to the email writer again, for writing such a beautiful thing and sending it to me. I am thrilled to receive an email like that. So yes. Now, what I wanted to talk about today is about the one wise person that is going to change everything for you in your life. And what inspired me was this week, I was talking to members of my Fierce Fatty Academy, and they were giving me testimonials for Fierce Fatty Academy. And something that really stands out is when people say to me, not just members of Fierce Fatty Academy, sometimes people will message me and say that I have changed their life. And that kind of stands out for me. So when people give me credit, it's great. I feel wonderful about it. I'm excited and pleased, and I'm a human being. But the way that I see it is that people are giving me credit when most of the credit actually lies with them. Yes, I may be the person out here teaching this stuff. Yes, I may be quote unquote brave to do it, and I'm facing oppression because I do so. But if the people whose lives have been changed didn't enroll in my program and do the work, well, they wouldn't have seen that change. If they had enrolled in my program, Fierce Fatty Academy, and never did anything, they wouldn't see the change. So it doesn't matter that I exist and that my message resonates with a lot of people and is important. If you don't do the work, it doesn't matter that much, right? And, you can listen to me and absorb fat positivity, or even, enroll in my program or do something else. But you need to do the work to see that transformation. So in my life, I have done various programs, and when I want to do something in life, I will get someone to teach me how to do it. Mostly, sometimes I'll be like, I'll just learn it off the internet for free. I'll just Google it, just watch some videos, and then I'll learn how to do it. Most of the time, if I've done that, if it's something important, not if it's like how to put on false eyelashes, but if it's something important and big in my life, I'll try and do it like doing that, going on the internet and all that type of stuff. But I'm not really invested, right? And so I won't see the results. And so I will then be like, oh, fine, I know what I need to do from the beginning, and then I go and do it. So one of those things that I enrolled in a course to do was to learn how to do a TEDx talk. So how to craft my application to get a TEDx talk and submit the application. Okay, so not to learn actually how to do the talk, it was to craft my application. And so I paid a couple of grand to learn how to craft the application. And so with the application is you do a lot of them, you do a 2-minute video, right? And so these 2-minute videos have to be good to stand out from, the many submissions that they might get. So, and so that's one example. In the program that I enrolled in for that TEDx thing, it's really great, by the way. If you want to know who it is, then just let me know. But when you start the program, there's a cohort, and maybe there were actually like 30 people in this cohort. And by the time the program had run its course, so we'd had all the calls and all that type of stuff, I was the only one who had got a TEDx talk. Now, that had nothing to do with the teacher's ability. She's great. And she went above and beyond to get this, this dream for people to get it achieved. But what I saw, and this is not the first time I've seen it, and it continues to happen today, is that people will enroll in a program, or it could be not even a program, it can be buying a book, whatever. And then they just don't do the work. And so these people have spent like $2,000. I think it was 2,500 actually, US. So 2,500 US to learn how to just do the application. And I know it's a big deal, right? It's a daunting thing to go and to do a TEDx, to write a whole 20-minute thing. And so this was broken down just to the application and the video. And most people didn't do it. In fact, I was the only one in this cohort to get a TEDx talk. They would do some of the work. Maybe they would get to they watch some of the modules, and maybe they would do a first draft of a video. And the thing is, we have to do many drafts to try and kind of nail it, because we have, maybe even just a minute, depending on the TEDx, to get your idea across. And so we have to craft it so you're not just rambling about shit. So I'm always just like, why? Why do people invest in things? Or they have this desire, right? They have this desire for a change, whatever it is, to do something, and they just don't do the work, and they don't see the results. And with this person, she had, 2 or 3 TEDx talks. She was a TEDx speaking coach. She was an amazing teacher. So it had nothing to do with the teacher, but it had everything to do with the students. And so what I'm trying to get at is your success is down to you. People who've been in my program, their success is down to them. Like, yes, I'm giving them the tools, but if they didn't do the work, then they wouldn't have seen the results. And I can't force people to do the work. I can, encourage people, and if people are struggling, support them and that type of stuff. But you can't go around someone's house and be like, right, okay, today, go and watch this video, do this thing, write this thing out, and the thing is with my program, with Fierce Fatty Academy, I deliberately make it so that the videos are bite-sized, and so there are less barriers to overcome, because sometimes, because I've done lots of different e-courses, sometimes you go in an e-course and the video is like 2 hours long, and you're like, oh, 2 hours? And then they'll give you tons of homework, and then you'd be like, do you know what? I'm just not gonna, I don't want to do it today. I'm like a A-star student, which is probably coming from some sort of, feeling of lack or something. I don't know. I always do the work. So if I buy something, if I buy a program and I've spent money, I do it. Like, I do the stuff and I get the results. That's just me, and even really, really expensive program. So I've mentioned I'm doing like coaching for my business. And so when you want to run a successful business, most people just, you're not taught how to do it in school. And a lot of times you can't learn how to run an online business in school because, when I was at school, it was like, here's a computer from 1957. And it was like, ooh, fancy, So there's no way that I could have learned how to do this in school. And so I have to pay to educate myself about how to run a business. And so I'm in this expensive program for a year, for 12 months. And so you're paying for 12 months. It's not lifetime access. And I've seen people in this program, they're at month 11. And they're like, I've paid thousands of dollars for this program and I've not seen any results. When I first joined this program, I saw this post in the Facebook group and I was like, oh my God, what is this? I was like, oh, scandal, gossip. I'm going to read this post, and thinking like, have I just bought something that's really shit? I knew I hadn't because my friend is one of the coaches in it. But anyway, so I read this post and this person's like, I'm really mad that I haven't got any results. And so one of the coaches like responded to it being like, okay, so what's going on? Have you done the stuff? And they're like, well, no. They're like, well, I set up this thing and this thing. And then they're like, well, did you do this? The main thing, And did you look at your results and track them and then come in and work on improving the results and blah, blah, blah? And they're like, well, no. And I was just like, oh, I can't wait to see what the coaches say. And they were like, I don't know. I don't remember what they said, but I think one of them was like, basically, listen, you've got to do the work. We can't do it for you. Just buying this thing is not going to make you, a multimillionaire business owner. You have to do the work, right? And the wonderful thing is when you do the work, it's you that's done it, right? And you're responsible for those things. So for me, it doesn't matter how great I am or not or whatever. It doesn't matter how great I am. If you don't do the work, then what I teach is close to useless or meaningless. Not 100% useless because things rub off on you through osmosis. But also, what other things are rubbing off on you through osmosis if you're hanging around with fat phobes. And the reason that people don't take action, it's manifold and it's complicated. And for me, the crux of it is that the solution seems harder than the problem. And so you believe that being in a difficult situation is easier than the solution, which is tackling the problem, the pain of it. And, there's obviously so many different reasons and, fear and people are scared and sometimes people like to blame others and all sorts of things, all sorts of things are going on and it's not often just one thing. But if we look at it, it's kind of like which pain is more painful. And if you view doing the work as more painful than your current solution, then why the fuck would you do the work, right? And the thing is the solution that bad? Can you take a tiny step forward and just believe that you can take a tiny step forward? The tiniest little step? Like with this TEDx thing, making a 2-minute video to send to these TEDx applications. So if you say it like that, make a 2-minute video. That sounds small, right? But still, the whole program was on this 2-minute video. And so we had to break it down even more to just writing one sentence, the opening sentence of your video. The title of what your talk could be, one sentence. And for me, it started as one word. So in my kitchen at the time, I had the wall was painted in blackboard paint, and I wrote the word fat, and I did one of those spidergrams. And so I don't know if that's a word for it, but That's what I call it. I'm sure other people call it that too, where you have a word in the middle and then you do lines out with, different ideas and stuff. And so I like wrote all these different lines out, about people's perceptions and good fatty and bad fatty and health and all that type of stuff. And so that the process there started with just one word. And that was possible for me. One word was possible for me. And so what is possible for you? What can you do, which is the smallest step, and make that commitment to yourself? And the title of the podcast, this one wise person is going to change everything for you. You are that wise person. You have it all there for you, ready in your brain. It's ready, and you have that desire and drive and need and all that type of stuff to make these changes, or you probably wouldn't be listening to this podcast. So you've got it, right? And so you just need to get the tools, and someone like me is the one providing the tools and helping a little bit, but it's you that's doing it. And you are so infinitely wise. You are so wise. And, I get this kind of feeling of being like, oh, this person changed my life. But it's kind of like, maybe this person was the fuel, or this person kind of helped you push you into a new stage, or this person just held a torch or flashlight, if you're from the States, held a torch up and said, here's where you need to go. But it was you that needed to grab that torch, grab that flashlight, and go then and explore and look for what you're looking for, what you're seeking. So, I don't want people to overemphasize my role in their transformations and not realize the power that they have, and also that it is their responsibility too. It is no one's responsibility. Like, I have responsibility to my students in Fierce Fatty Academy to be that facilitator, to be that guide, to help them. But my students are responsible to themselves to do the work, Like, I can't go around people's houses. It reminds me of one time when I was in recruitment. I worked for this global company, right? And so one time I was in New York doing this training with this new company that I was with, and there was this girl from, where was she from? Like Florida. Yeah, she was from somewhere hot, because we were in New York and it was winter, and she was like, I couldn't even buy a coat where I'm from. They don't exist because it's so hot there. Anyway, and she was telling me this story, how she had got this young kid a job, and he was like, I really need help. I really need to make some money. And so she'd got him a job, and he'd started it, and, a week in, he didn't turn up to work one day. And so he was like a temp worker, right? A young person. And he probably didn't think much of it. And so the company called her. She was a recruiter, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned it was recruitment. You're thinking, what the fuck are you talking about? Is this a recruitment? And so the company called her and was like, where is this kid? And she called him. He didn't answer. She's like, you better get in, like, because it's ruining her reputation. And so she was so mad about it, because she'd given this kid a chance. He was like really begging her, like laying it on thick, I need this job. And so she went round to his house, and his mum was there, and she went into his mum and was like, listen up here, this kid hasn't turned up to work. And she waited there with the mum for this kid to come home, and the kid came home, and they both like told him off and was like, get to work now. And he did. And I just thought, I was like, what? You went around his house? Like, but she was like really fiery and passionate and like, let's just do it. And so she like literally went around the house and forced the kid to do the stuff. But, if he didn't turn up the next day, was she going to go around his house again? And was she going to, get him dressed and put his shoes on for him? No, he has to do that, right? She can set up the opportunity of here's a job, but she can't do the job for him. He has to be the one that gets up in the morning, puts his shoes on, gets on the bus, do the work, come back the next day. And so, she facilitated him getting that job, but he is the one that did it. And so you're the one that is doing the job. I might be a facilitator, but those who succeed, they have themselves to thank. And those who don't do the work, then they have, I don't want to say have themselves to blame because it's complicated. Sometimes people don't do the work for various different reasons, but they can look at themselves and be like, okay, I still have the power to make these changes. So you are the wise, incredible person that is going to change everything for you. It's you. And yeah, you can thank various different people for kind of giving you that flashlight, giving you that torch, giving you the map, giving you a guide. But you're the one who does it. So basically, you're amazing. You're incredible. Do some magic shit. To take the tiniest step, because sometimes this can feel really overwhelming, and depending how long you've been in this, it can take longer and it can be more difficult. You can have big breakthroughs very quickly and then sometimes stall a little bit, and everyone's journey is different and everyone's experiences are unique. So yeah, that is the end of our episode. I hope you've enjoyed hanging out with me today. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the episode. You are an incredible human being, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And I want to remind you to stay fierce, fatty. All right, see you later, crocodile. Goodbye. Thanks for listening to the episode. And if you feel ready to get serious about this work and want to know when the doors open to Fierce Fatty Academy, which is my signature program where I teach all about how to overcome your fat phobic beliefs and learn to love your fat body, then go to fiercefatty.com/waitlist. Again, that is fiercefatty.com/waitlist to get your name on the waitlist for when Fierce Fatty Academy, my signature program, opens.